Azerbaijan's president has declared that his country's sovereignty has been restored over Nagorno-Karabakh after a 24-hour military offensive against ethnic Armenian forces. Ilham Aliyev praised the heroism of Azerbaijan's army hours after Karabakh forces agreed to surrender. Some 120,000 ethnic Armenians live in the South Caucasus enclave, recognized internationally as part of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan now intends to bring the breakaway region under full control. Its military launched an anti-terror operation on Tuesday, demanding that Karabakh's forces raise a white flag and dissolve their illegal regime. With no means of support from neighbouring Armenia, and after an effective 9-month blockade, the ethnic Armenians soon capitulated. Karabakh officials said at least 32 people were killed, including 7 civilians, and another 200 wounded. Azerbaijan's army said it had captured more than 90 positions from the ethnic Armenians before both sides announced that a complete cessation of hostilities had been agreed through Russian peacekeepers, starting at 1300 hours local time, 9 o'clock GMT, on Wednesday. Under the terms of the truce, local Karabakh forces commit to being completely disbanded as well as disarmed. There is also a commitment to Armenian forces pulling out, even though Yerevan denies having any military presence there. Azerbaijan's presidency said officials would meet Karabakh's Armenian representatives for talks on issues of reintegration in the Azerbaijani town of Yevlak on Thursday. President Aliyev said Azerbaijanis have nothing against the population, only their criminal junta. Yevlak is some 100 kilometers, 60 miles, north of Karabakh's regional capital, Kankendi, known as Stepanakert by Armenians. Marat Vanyan, a journalist in Karabakh, said many families had spent Tuesday night in basements. "I didn't sleep and I didn't eat. It's calm now, but it's a strange feeling. Right now, what we need to do is stop this bloodshed and understand what to do next." Russia said its peacekeepers had evacuated 2,000 people from Karabakh villages since the offensive had begun. As the ceasefire was announced, Karabakh officials appealed to residents to remain in shelters and not to leave for the local airport, adjacent to a Russian peacekeeping base. However, a crowd of civilians had soon gathered close to the airport, and as darkness fell hours later it was unclear what support they would have. Caucasus specialist Thomas Dilwal of Carnegie Europe said the terms of the ceasefire in the coming talks were very much on Azerbaijan's terms and left ethnic Armenians looking unprotected. "This looks like the end of a 35-year-old project, some would say a century-old project, of the Armenians of Karabakh to secede from Azerbaijan," he told the BBC. "We're probably, unfortunately, seeing a project whereby the Azerbaijanis offer so little to the Karabakh Armenians that most if not all of them will leave." Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan made clear his government was not involved in the ceasefire text and demanded that Russian peacekeepers take full responsibility for the safety of the local population. On Tuesday he accused Azerbaijan of ethnic cleansing in Karabakh. Azerbaijan's presidential envoy Elchin Amerbekov told the BBC that Russian peacekeepers had helped facilitate the ceasefire. "I think they have to be counted on for the implementation part." Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, Armenia and its neighbor have fought 2 wars over Nagorno-Karabakh, a mountainous, landlocked region in the southwest of Azerbaijan. The 6-week war in 2020 led to several thousand deaths but enabled Azerbaijan, backed by Turkey, to recapture territory surrounding and inside the enclave, leaving the ethnic Armenians isolated. For the past 9 months, Azerbaijan has conducted an effective blockade of the only road into Karabakh from Armenia, known as the Lakan Corridor. Ethnic Armenians in the enclave complained of shortages of food, medicines and toiletries, and Armenia was unable to help. Although some aid was allowed through in recent days, the Karabakh Armenians were very much weakened by the shortages by the time of the Azerbaijani offensive, with little hope of external support. Some 2,000 Russian peacekeepers were supposed to monitor the 2020 ceasefire, but Moscow's interest in Armenia has waned during its war in Ukraine, even though Armenia is part of Russia's CSTO military alliance. Last May, the Armenian Prime Minister was quoted as saying his country would be ready to recognize Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan in return for the security of the ethnic Armenian population. The 86,600 square kilometers of Azerbaijan's territory includes Nagorno-Karabakh, Mr. Pashinyan was quoted as saying, referring to Azerbaijan as a whole. Russia has also been annoyed by Mr. Pashinyan's apparent pivot to the West. Earlier this month his wife Anna Hakobian appeared at a conference in Kyiv and shook Ukraine's president by the hand. This week, dozens of Armenian soldiers took part in military exercises with the U.S. military. The Kremlin has denied Armenian allegations that it did not do enough to help its ally. President Vladimir Putin said only last week that Russia had no problems with Armenia's prime minister, but added, "If Armenia itself recognized that Karabakh is part of Azerbaijan, what should we do?" Hundreds of protesters in Yerevan called for the prime minister to resign on Tuesday because of his handling of the crisis, and he warned of unidentified forces calling for a coup.